welcome back. This is Alden Antonucci, your host at Xtreme Power Hour Podcast, where we've got Troy back. Hey, Troy, thanks for coming back.
Yep, no problem.
And giving us more about the story. I mean, the first episode where I was kind of learning more about you, and Alex was doing a great job trying to figure out what makes you tick. Because honestly, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing, especially when I was a high school student, is like, how am I going to make a predator obey me? Predator in the sense of animals, grizzlies, lynx, all of this kind of women. Well, and that's just it. I didn't want to get into that. But, if you're a male and you got testosterone going through your blood, I mean, the first thing you're thinking maybe is women, but and you, it was actually the focus was on animals and like, what do animals tick? And you learned kind of like the science and the psychology behind it, because I think it sounded like naturally you have this born a gift. And do you find that was kind of the truth when you were a kid?
Yeah, well, I don't know. At that time, I probably didn't believe that, because I believed, I was 5 years into my career, and I believed that anybody could do what I wanted, that what I'm doing, they just had to concentrate on it. But at the 5-year level, I realized that you either know it or you don't.
Right.
And that's where we were at with Ben. He was very enthusiastic, but yeah.
And that brings me to the next point. So we were talking about Ben a little bit, and he was one of your great animal instructors. He helped you with the feeding, the cleaning, the whole 9 years. He almost aspired to be you. Let's just put it that way. He didn't work there just to have a job. He worked there because he was passionate about animals, and he looked up to you almost as if a hero. Like, this is what I want to do when I grow up, right?
Yeah, he did.
And Ben was one of the guys that unfortunately passed away. Right. And
correct.
Some of those news headlines sounded a lot worse than it really was. Like, bear attack, and he was this whole 9 yards. It just didn't sound as good. Right.
Yeah.
And so, what's great about having you here now is obviously this happened around 12 years ago. Is we want to hear like the real, like what happened, like what was going through the bear's mind and the psychology behind it. What's going through your mind? Obviously what happened with Ben.
Right.
And, my help of Alex here. And I know I've got Luca here, and Luca.
I see you back.
Yeah. And you, thanks for coming, by the way.
Thank you.
It's amazing coming all the way from Italy.
Yeah. Right.
So what part of Italy are you from?
From south, called Basilicata, south of Italy. Yeah.
Very cool. What's Italy known for in that area?
Agriculture, we are originally from Basilicata, is the same parallel of the California, so we have the same weather and the same, agriculture,
like vineyards, olives,
all kind of like even like mandarins, and any kind of agriculture, is
very
known
cool.
for, like, strawberries, very famous for the strawberries as well, even all around Italy, they take it from that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I know you've known Ben for how long now? How many years?
Troy, you mean?
Troy. Sorry.
Troy. How
Ben,
many years
who
that
we're
we
gonna
know
talk
each
about
other?
later.
Troy is like a not just my friend, is a family. When I don't hear it, we don't hear each other. We gotta call each other. Even though I live right now in Miami, and he also is my first man, for my wedding. I get married down here to Montana, even if I live in Miami. And him, and I think it's the first time he's up in United States, or maybe worldwide, that we have our Troy and our loved Adam Grizzly bear, that he was our witness and...
And Adam's one of Troy's grizzly bears that just recently passed away.
Yeah.
Roughly around 10 years old or so.
24.
No, 24. Yes.
Got it. Wow, that's amazing. So Adam, who's a grizzly bear, was in your wedding.
Right, yeah. I have some pictures. I don't know if we can post some pictures. We can show it.
Oh, we're going to show some pictures. So all the audience that's watching right now, we're definitely going to put some pictures up there. Because honestly, I've never seen a grizzly bear in a tuxedo. I don't know, was he wearing a tuxedo? Or is that more if he's just standing in the corner?
The area where Troy lives and where Adam lives is really like a farming area with a lot of rancher around, like a real cowboy. So all together, we choose to get dressed like in a cowboy suit, like me and Victoria, and again, all the cowboy they were.
And Victoria is your wife.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, Victoria. We were all dressed up. That was our like a wedding suit. It was in a cowboy teams, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we're going back now, you guys
Too much everything. Yeah.
you met Troy where officially?
Well, I met Troy online, you know. I met Troy through one of his.
It was eHarmony?
Tinder.
Tinder.
Yeah,
Got it.
Tinder, yeah.
Got it. You're like, that's a good looking man right there.
He's looking for a bear.
Looking for a bear.
Yeah, I mean, out of the blue, you know, I start to be, you know, I was about, you know, I give away my dog. Not that I give away. I let my mom take care of my dog in Italy. You know, I used to have, I still have, it's still alive, thank God. He's a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. And my mom, she, you know, my daddy always go to work and he feels a little bit, lonely. And she loved my dog, is Tony, which is very well trained, you know. He stay in the house, he respect, you know, he listen a lot of commands, you know. So I said to my mom, I said, Mom, you keep it. So while I was giving to her, I start to look and watch all these freaking before hybrids, you know, into the hybrids wolf dog, not like a pure wolf. And I went online and said, you know what, I want to buy a wolf dog, you know. Then after that, you know, I really, at the end of it, ended up buy this wolf dog, you know, and after...
Online?
Online, yeah. I went in North Carolina, so I see the father, the mother, so I bought that. And then after that, I say, right now, I don't want anymore like a wolf dog, you know, even though this behavior it was impossible to maintain inside the house,
Right.
you know, I have to create like a gate outside and stuff like that, you know, it was not really social. Not that it was mean, they're just like a shy animals. So, and then I say, let me look together like a pure, like USDA wolf, you know, like, you know. And I ran into this ad online. I don't remember exactly now the name of this website, you know.
Yeah, it was a place where we advertised animals for sale.
Yeah.
But you actually hooked up with Dimitri, a guy
Right.
that worked
Yes.
for me.
Yes.
What year was this
Yes.
roughly?
I think, what was it, like 2016?
Yeah, probably
Yes.
16.
I think it was
Yeah.
16, yeah, because
Got
back in the days I used to have a car dealership, yeah.
Got
It
it.
was 2016, yeah.
So you guys have known each other for roughly 8 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got it. And so ever since that 8-year relationship, he basically bought a wolf from you and you stayed in contact.
No,
No.
because Troy was sorry to interrupt you. Troy was very straight
Oh.
about his job, you know. He was, Luca, okay, yeah. So I sent him some money deposit because I see this cute, beautiful pups, you know. Then when it was about the time, so I fly out here to Montana, and Troy goes like, Luca, you have the USDA license? I said, what is the USDA license? You know, I said, I cannot transfer the animal just like that, you know, go forbid something up, and, you know, I'm going to lose my license, I'm going to lose my ass, and all kind of stuff. And I say, you know, I understand. He said, I don't want to give you any issue. You know, I'm going to find another route to get it, you know, because I was really stubborn to get another one and call somebody else. And I get another wolves, you know, to give a company with my wolf dog. It was a girl, you know, the other wolf pup, you know.
So you bought a wolf pup from somebody else.
Somebody else, yeah.
But you didn't have a driver's license, so you couldn't pick it up. Is that was it?
No, the USDA license
Yeah, you
to
have
get
to
the
have
pure.
Oh, the USDA.
USDA.
To be able to leave the country or to be able to.
No, to be able to buy any.
Yeah, you
because
cannot purchase a wolf from somebody. You cannot purchase a purebred wolf just because you want it for a pet.
Oh,
You have to have a USDA license.
Gotcha.
And every state's different.
Yeah,
And in the state of Montana, anybody can own a wolf. You could call me and get a wolf tomorrow if you wanted to.
yeah.
But all the other states, you have to be a licensed facility.
Okay, so
Oh, okay.
Montana is unique in some of these rules.
Yeah, very unique. And so,
Okay, so maybe Troy, tell me some more of those rules because the audience is like, wow, I've never heard this before. This is the first time I've heard this.
We gotta be careful, sorry, because now we're gonna
Right.
make everybody loves the wolf.
Ah.
Everybody gonna start. Everybody's supposed to buy wolf left and
So-
right, you know.
I guess before we get into that, did you get a wolf? You
I
got
get it, the female. You know, and yes, I did it. You know,
You got pictures of that wolf?
Yes, yes.
And we'll put those pictures.
Yeah, I
on
get
there.
in a lot of trouble. You know, you can Google my name and last name. You know, a lot of trouble. I get it with the state, with the wildlife animals. You know,
in Montana
no,
or
that was back in Florida.
Florida,
That was
got
back
it.
in Florida. You know, we were.
Florida has a lot of, like exotic wildlife sanctuaries.
and all
You
that
think
stuff.
they'd be like more lenient?
well, it's, like Luca said, you got in some trouble, but wolves aren't designed to be pets.
No.
So people that want to buy a wolf, they think, oh, I'm gonna get a wolf that they look like a German Shepherd, they're
Mhm.
big like a German Shepherd, they act like a German Shepherd. They have no idea what they're
They
getting
don't
into.
act any all like that. Yeah.
There's nothing like that. They're a
No.
complete predator, and they hurt people. They bite, and they don't. It's not like a little nip like a dog would. If they get a hold of you, it's gonna be a bad deal.
Right. So
Yeah.
and back to the quick story on Montana is unique in the fact that anyone could buy a wolf from anyone in Montana.
In
but
Montana.
you can't bring it across state lines.
No.
And that's
Right.
kind of where you got in problems, right?
Yeah, but it was anything related to Troy's situation. You know, it was
Mhm.
just, you know, I take my female from somebody else, you know, that Troy knows that this person is in this kind of business, you know, wild animals. So he gave me the opportunity to have this female, which was, you know, a lot of trouble for me, you know, issue with any kind of issue with the city, you know. He killed a dog. He almost killed another 2 dogs, you know. Yeah, he killed a dog, a collie, you know. I felt bad for the person, you know, while I was not there because, you know, I follow up the rule of the city. The city, they told me, don't put the top. And I said, I need the top. So I even legalized the cage inside my house in Miami, but they absolutely don't give me the opportunity to close the top, you know. And when one day me and Victoria, my wife, we were out of town, you know, she escaped. She jumped off the cage, you know. She was hunting for other animals, you know, mostly like for smaller dogs. Yeah, I know. I
Oh
felt
my
bad for
God.
what happened, you know. And then she was coming back on her own, you know. They were like police looking for, you know. After that, you know, I escalated everything.
So
Then
did you
I
call the
realized,
police?
no, somebody called the
So-
police. So I realized. So yeah. So then I realized, you know, and we bring it the female in a very famous sanctuary down to Naples in Florida, and you guys won't believe she was able to escape even from this sanctuary that they've been doing this business for the last almost 30 years, you know, this sanctuary down to Naples. You know, I have a video, you know, they were shooting video of me, you know, and before they were accusing me for be not able to contain or train these animals that I was having in my backyard, you know, and then they realized that this company that is the most famous, because all the people that have been attacking me online say, bring it to that sanctuary. We called them, you know, we put them then to relocated in Colorado, these 2 animals, you know.
Did they? So she escaped. Did they find her?
She's been fine. They don't say on the news also today, they put a different news because, you know, they even shoot her with the tranquilize, you know, and they were still not able to find, you know, they were like, I don't want to say like 100 cops around there in Naples between, you know,
Wow.
federal agent, you know, looking for the female. It was something.
Did you get fined at all?
Well,
they
I get,
find-
yeah, I did get fined from the city for, you know, for what happened, the accident, because she escaped. It was the second fine, you know, but, you know, pretty much not really fine, you know.
Did you
no.
have to pay for the other person's dog or
Yeah,
was there
yeah. I paid
restitution
for
or-
one, fix it one. The other one, I tried to settle down, but the person who was, instead of asking me to replace, he was asking me $15,000 back to
Right.
me for what happened. And I said, listen, you know, there was a fight between animals. I said, I was not there, you know, I want to replace the animals. And the person was not okay to do that. He said, no, I want 50,000. I said, listen, your dog, he doesn't have like a tag, a price, you know, I'm
Does
sorry
your-
for what happened.
Does your house insurance cover that?
No, they
No.
try to no, because
Oh.
it's been considered between dogs, so everybody
Oh.
is
Was
watching.
it a full bred? Full bred? wolf?
100%.
100% wolf, like straight up cub.
Straight up wolf pup.
Have you
Wow.
have you seen this before with other people that have purchased wolves that have?
Oh yeah.
was
Well,
my
see, I
female.
think
Oh, very
the problem
cool.
is,
Put
and that's
that
a really good
online.
question, is that
Wow.
the problem
Yeah.
is, and I just give you a really quick story. I was on a location somewhere and I walked out of a gas station. I was just telling these guys this morning. This guy had this beautiful brown husky, had a gold eye and a brown eye. It was a beautiful dog. And I looked at him and I was actually there doing a wolf film, and I had a trailer full of wolves. And I walked out and looked at the guy and I go, "That's a beautiful dog." And he goes, "It's not a dog, it's a wolf." And I kept walking, right? And so My lady friend said, God, that guy's dumb. I said, he's not dumb. What happened is everybody has experienced a hybrid. So that's what he thinks they look like. He really truly believes that that's a wolf. And he's probably seen a lot of stuff that's hybridized that's similar to that. But the one and only thing that he'll never see is the temperament of a purebred wolf. And you hear people say, oh, I've got a wolf. I've got him in my apartment. He's great. He's this and that. They don't have a wolf in their apartment. They have a hybrid in their apartment. If you put a wolf in an apartment, you won't have an apartment. You won't have no furniture. You won't have nothing.
Wow.
It won't take long either.
Oh, they will rip
Just
everything
chew
apart
everything.
like crazy.
Yeah, they'll get fired up about things.
Yeah.
So the personality trait of a wolf
Mm.
is what people don't see. So they see the hybrid and they think, well, that's cool. And I can tell you another really quick story. The only wolf I ever sold to a person privately was a guy wanted a wolf, and he just was like, just so passionate about it. He just really wanted this. I kept telling him no.
Did he have
no.
experience with wolves, or he just watched the Nature Channel and was like, I want a wolf?
Yeah, well, no, he had some experience, but not with wolves.
Right.
He had experience with hybrids. So to answer your question, no, he had no experience with wolves, even though he thought he did. And so, I don't know, he bugged me for a good year. And finally I said, look, I'll sell you one, but I'm going to do a contract with you. And I had it written up by my attorney. It's not designed to be a pet. It's not a pet. It's not going to be like a dog. It's not a dog. And I went through the whole thing. So I told the guy, because in the state of Montana, they have to be tattooed or microchipped. And back in the day, there was no microchip. We used to tattoo them. And he
What
said,
does that mean? Like you just grab their arm and tattoo?
well, yeah, there's
or...
a flank under their back leg. It's got to be legible from left to right. So it's got to be on their left rear, reading left to right. And so I told him I would tattoo it for him when that time came. Yeah, okay. So we decided to tattoo our wolves at like 3.5 months old. And he brings his up. And his was the last one out. And I went and grabbed it to put it on the table. And it started to snap at me. So I grabbed him. And if you're a wolf trainer, you always carry tape. So you can tape his mouth real quick. And get him up on the table so we could tattoo him. And I didn't say anything to him. It's his deal. And so as we're tattooing, he has this conversation with me, and he says, you told me that I couldn't have that wolf around dogs. And that dog plays with my neighbor's German Shepherd every single day. They run together, and they're like best of buds. I said, so that'll work for maybe a year, but outside of that, you're going to run into trouble. And,
Right. It might be lunch.
yeah, and he says, no. So it didn't take, but I think that wolf was 2. And I get the call that the neighbor's dog, they come home to find their German Shepherd half-eaten in the backyard because the wolf turned into a wolf. And he was like, hey, I'm alpha here. Who are you? Right? So that's how their structure works. So now he's an adult and his brain kicks into, where do I fit in this pack?
Right.
I'm dominant. And he goes after him. Well, then he kills him, so he eats him. Wolves eat dogs. In a wild, wolves eat coyotes. They eat red fox. So it's part of their diet. So it's natural for him. And so the state came and talked to me about selling this wolf to this guy. And I said, yeah, I sold it to him and I gave him the contract. And they stood in my kitchen and read it and said, all right, well, we'll see you later. And out the door they went. So, there's a liability, a huge liability, and that happens.
So the contract saved you.
Well, I don't know if the contract saved me, but he signed everything I put in there. And I told him it's not intended to be. I even had in there, it can't be with dogs, can't play with dogs. But because he was able to put it with a dog and actually see that they actually interacted, that will happen for like a year and a half. You just don't know what day that wolf's brain is going to mature and go, hey, I'm the alpha here, not you.
Right.
And then there's
Right.
trouble.
You're just so unpredictable. Yeah.
Very unpredictable.
Have you been?
Well, you know what? That's a statement I always tell people. You said very unpredictable, more predictable than you can believe. Just people don't want to believe that.
Right.
Right.
You know it's going to happen a year
Yeah.
and a half. You already know that's the predictable aspect.
Yep.
But you're like, oh, it'll never happen to my wolf.
Right. That's what
You can
people think.
predict that they're dangerous and they might and probably will kill.
Yep, they will.
So
you know?
going back to Luca real quick, did you learn the hard way?
Yeah, I did. I pay my fine. I take my responsibility.
Hope so.
My wife, she suffer, and I make happy the city, so I'm in a good relationship right now, thank God, with the city of Miami Beach,
Yeah.
and all my neighbors, especially because I love all my neighbors. We respect each other, we love each other whenever
Right.
we need something. I live in a good neighborhood, in where I live is in Normandy Island. So I'm.
If I could ask Troy a question now,
Yeah, go
knowing this situation, is Luca's the person that sold Luca a wolf, are they responsible? Did you have a contract?
No, I don't. But Troy knows the person who sold it to me. This guy is working with the lion, tigers. He has all this kind of animals.
Right, but
yeah.
does the liability go beyond state lines? What's that?
Well, I don't think there's a. The system doesn't work that way. Meaning,
Is it
they're
federal?
not going to hold me liability. But the reason I can't do it is because my wolves are 100% purebred. And my wolves are also what they call CITES proven. So back in the day, I could pull a wolf pup and I could track it all the way back through the system at my place, all the way back to the wild and show there's never been a dog in it.
Like a genealogy.
Yeah.
It's a genealogy,
Lineage.
exactly.
Lineage. Yep.
And they just call it CITES. So I've had hundreds of people, even Luca at the time, say, look, can you just like put down it's 95% wolf and I'll take it as a wolf dog. And I said, I can't do that because the minute I do that, dog has entered my system.
A change.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And
I want to
can't do
just say one thing because in a Florida law, they allow you. I don't remember because now it's been passing a lot of years since this has happened. And my mistake have been taken to try to take and use it in backyard in in an area where other people living. I believe it was like they approve you up to 85% in Florida consider like wolf, and
Wild or-
15% dog, which there is something that Troy teach me. You can never prove that because I will see the behavior of the female more than the male. The female, she was always running around. So she never bark. I never heard her bark in my life. She just hauling. That's it. And she was back and forth. I give a confidence to nobody, just to me, to my wife. That's it. She was. And another thing I'm gonna say, because Troy is many years he's been training, and Troy teach me about the genetic code that once you is wolves, they're good. They're not to handle even other people better than an animal that is taken from. I don't know when this guy took it. He said to me that they really catch him, they find him. He was full of fleas when I take Eve. I kind of like rescue my wolf, the female, and the behavior was like a behavior that I never seen in my life, that maybe you can see just in the wild.
Right.
But go back to Troy, all Troy's wolf, even they are pure, but also they've been educated in the years, in maybe 30, 40 years that Troy's been doing that, they're more, even if they're unpredictable, like you guys say, but they're like more more trained,
Yeah, well,
Domesticated.
not domesticated is not the word.
Not real domesticated, but
What he's trying to say is he's talking about genetic memory.
right, genetic memory, yes.
And so genetic memory is like, just to give you an example of genetic memory. So our wolves are trained in a hotline, right? So if they touch it, they get a shock. So each year we have to, train the new puppies, or the puppies are staying. They go into a hotline when they're like 6 weeks old, and they get, and then they run away from it. They only get shocked 2 or 3 times. They know what it is, and they stay with it. So after I was about 10 years into it, one year I had like 6 different litters. I had like 23 puppies, and we built a big hotline, and I stuck the wolves in the hotline, and nobody touched it.
What's a hotline
that
for
is
the
fast.
audience?
A hotline is
Electrical.
yeah, it's an
fence.
electrical fence, and it's really low, like 3 inches off the ground for the puppies. And if they run into it, it gives them an electrical shock.
Basically,
just
it's like a
horse.
shock collar.
It's like a horse fence, but
Right.
they have to touch it.
And
And if they touch the fence, they'll get a shock. So we're like 10 years into the program, and all of a sudden, none of the wolves, first time in the line, they'll run right up to it, stop, look at it, and turn and go away. That's genetic memory.
Yeah,
Their,
it's
their
crazy.
whole
Yeah.
ancestry has received it.
Well, that
That's
brings me
so cool.
into this.
Yeah.
Kind of the theme of this episode right now is basically predators will be predators, right?
Correct.
And that Gino, even though you might love that wolf for that year and it might lick your face all day, there's going to come a time where that predator, where the brain is going to click over and it's going to go back to what it knows, right? And that back to what it knows is the genetic makeup, right? And,
Primal instinct.
and that's what kind of leads me into what we're going to do is go into this Ben scenario, right? With
Correct.
what happened there. And we're going to leave it off at there, knowing that predators are going to be predators. And that leads up to our next. So come back and tell us more about Ben and what happened, at your place, and I know everyone's dying to know.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is
absolutely.
Alden Antonucci with Xtreme Power Hour Podcast, where I got special guest Troy Hyde. Stay
The
tuned
big
for the
Troy.
next. Big Troy.